Millionaire Michael Whitman believed he had created the perfect life. A beautiful home, a growing business empire, and a young, gentle wife named Lisa who was pregnant with their first child. But nothing prepared him for the day he returned home earlier than usual and found everything falling apart. The Whitman mansion looked calm from the outside, clean lawn, shining windows, everything perfect. But inside, the house felt strange. Too quiet. Too empty. Like the walls were holding their breath. Michael dropped his suitcase on the polished wooden floor and loosened his tie slowly, trying to relax the stress of the day. But something felt off. The house usually had some life in it, but today, nothing. No music. No TV. No laughter. Just quiet and the ticking of a clock somewhere far away. As he moved deeper into the living room, his eyes fell on a violet scarf hanging over a chair. It belonged to Lisa. Her favorite one. He picked it up and smelled her usual soft scent of cardamom and vanilla. But the scarf was twisted. Squeezed. As if someone had held it too tightly while crying. His chest tightened. Michael walked faster now, shoes tapping on the marble floor. He stepped into the nursery and froze. Lisa was sitting on the floor beside the baby crib they hadn't finished building. One hand held her pregnant belly, the other covered her face. Her shoulders shook as she cried quietly. "Hey," Michael's voice came out softer than he expected. Lisa quickly wiped her tears and turned to him, but the makeup couldn't hide the bruise forming on her jaw. Again, she gave him her usual excuse. She slipped, she fell, it wasn't serious. But her hands were shaking. Michael helped her stand and guided her carefully to the bed. She moved slowly, like someone scared to be hurt again. When she finally lay down, she turned her face to the wall instead of looking at him. Michael sat beside her, gripping the armrest of the chair so tightly the leather creaked. His eyes lifted to the corner of the ceiling where he had installed a small black security camera months ago. For the first time, he wondered what those cameras had seen while he was gone. He didn't check them yet. He just sat there, watching Lisa breathe, anger boiling quietly inside him. Something was wrong in his home. Very wrong. And it wasn't going away by itself. The next morning, the light that entered the house was pale and cold. The kitchen sounded normal, the kettle boiling, the toaster clicking. But the people inside were pretending. Lisa moved slowly around the kitchen, supporting herself with one hand on the counter. She made toast, but she didn't eat it. When the butter knife brushed her wrist, she winced in pain. Michael noticed everything. He closed his laptop gently, but the sound felt loud. He asked if she slept well. She nodded too quickly. He asked if she would rest later. Another quick nod. Her answers felt rehearsed, like someone forcing themselves to stay calm. Outside the window, two groundskeepers walked past, speaking quietly. "Madam used to laugh a lot," one said. "It's been weeks," the other replied. "Someone should say something." "Who will listen?" The word stabbed Michael deeply. He washed a clean mug just to keep himself from exploding. Then he dried it slowly, placed it on the rack, and told Lisa he had some calls to make. She nodded again. Inside his study, Michael closed the door, took a deep breath, and walked to the security monitor on his desk. His hand shook slightly as he typed in the code. He pressed play. The screen split into different sections showing the foyer, staircase, kitchen, and nursery hallway. At first, everything looked normal, staff doing their work, sunlight moving across the floor. Then 3:12 p.m. Michael leaned closer. The kitchen camera showed his mother entering the house, Mrs. Eleanor Whitman. Tall, sharp, always strict. She didn't even glance at the camera. At first, she and Lisa exchanged small smiles, forced ones. But within minutes, their body language changed. Eleanor's chin lifted in that proud, cold way she had. Lisa's shoulders curled in fear. And then, Eleanor stepped forward, pointing a finger sharply at Lisa. Even without audio, the insult was clear. "You don't belong here." Lisa touched her belly, steadying herself, scared. Then Eleanor grabbed her arm hard and shoved her against the kitchen counter. Lisa flinched in pain, holding the counter to stop herself from falling. Michael clenched his jaw until it hurt. He rewound the clip, watching it again slowly. It felt worse each time. Another clip showed Eleanor standing in the nursery doorway, arms crossed, staring at the crib like it offended her. In another, she blocked Lisa's path with a chair. Then came the worst. A slap. Quick. Cold. Like it meant nothing. Lisa held onto the counter, blinking fast to stop tears, swallowing whatever sound tried to escape her mouth. Outside the study, two housekeepers passed the hallway. "She's covering her cheek again. I saw the bruise." I wish he would notice. He's always working. Maybe today. The voices faded. But Michael's world had already stopped. Michael sat back slowly. The leather chair made a small groaning sound under his weight. His eyes stayed on the paused video frame. His mother's hand was still in the air. Lisa was half-bent, trying to protect herself. Heat rushed up Michael's neck, then cooled, then settled inside him like a heavy stone. But he didn't shout. He didn't rush out of the room. He knew his mother too well. If he confronted her with anger, she would pretend to cry, deny everything, twist the story, and make it look like she was the victim. No. He needed proof. Clear proof. Undeniable proof. So he scrubbed the camera footage forward to the next day. There she was again. Another visit. Another moment of cruelty. Another shove. Another insult. The pattern was clear. It crawled from the screen straight into Michael's heart and sat there like a weight. He squeezed the bridge of his nose gently, eyes closed, breathing slowly, like a pilot trying to stay calm in a storm. When he opened his eyes, a decision had already formed inside him. He would create the perfect moment for the truth to expose itself. A moment nobody could argue with. A moment where every camera had full audio, full light, and no blind spots. This wouldn't be a fight out of anger. It was protection. For Lisa. For their unborn child. And for peace inside their home. Michael stood up slowly. He adjusted a slightly crooked photo on the shelf, his parents smiling at a ribbon-cutting ceremony years ago. His own reflection overlapped theirs in the glass. His throat tightened. He straightened the photo frame and placed his palm gently on the wooden table, grounding himself. The plan was calm. Precise. Not loud. Not emotional. A quiet exit from the house the next morning. A parked car hidden around the corner. Eyes on the live camera feeds. Phone ready. Perfect timing. He would wait until the truth revealed itself. And when it did, nobody would escape it. Michael switched off the monitor. The screen shrank into a tiny dot of light before going fully dark. The room felt colder. He stood there a few seconds, breathing. Then stepped into the hallway, face calm, voice steady, carrying a decision he didn't plan to change. The next morning, Michael woke before the sun. He lay still for a moment, listening to Lisa breathing beside him. Her breathing was soft, fragile, sometimes shaking like she was having a bad dream. He slipped out of bed carefully, like a man preparing for battle instead of breakfast. By 8 a.m., he kissed her forehead and told her he had meetings in the city. He walked out through the front door loudly enough for the staff to hear. Tires rolled on the driveway. The mansion fell quiet. But Michael didn't go far. He drove around the block, parked under a large oak tree, and opened his tablet. All the security cameras lit up, clear and sharp. Now he waited. Time moved slowly. Gardeners trimmed the bushes. A maid carried clean bedsheets. Everything looked normal. Too normal. Then a silver car turned into the driveway. His mother. She stepped out looking perfect. Pearls on her neck, hair neatly arranged. She used her own key to enter the mansion. Her heels clicked on the marble floor, slow, confident. The cameras caught everything. Lisa was in the kitchen pouring tea. Her shoulders were already tense, as if she could sense trouble. Michael's mother walked in. Her shadow stretched long across the tiles. Michael muted the audio so he could focus. He saw his mother's lips move, sharp, angry words. He saw the shove. He saw the teacup fall and shatter into pieces on the floor. Lisa bent quickly to pick up the broken pieces, but his mother grabbed her arm harshly and yanked her back up. Michael leaned closer to the tablet, heart burning. He wanted to run inside immediately, but he forced himself to wait. He needed the full truth. Nothing missing. Then, his mother reached for the knife block. Her fingers wrapped around a kitchen knife. She lifted it slowly, as if thinking about something dangerous. Her face twisted. That was enough. Michael threw open his car door so hard it slammed loudly. He ran up the driveway, footsteps hitting the ground fast. He burst through the side door and shouted, "Enough!" The sound shook the whole kitchen. Both women froze. Lisa stumbled back, holding her belly, tears spilling. Eleanor turned toward him, knife still in her hand. Her eyes widened, not with guilt, but with shock at being caught. Michael stepped forward slowly, voice low but sharp enough to cut through the air. Every bruise, every threat, every word, everything is recorded. He pointed to the ceiling. To the tiny red recording light blinking steadily. Capturing it all. Eleanor's hand began to shake. The knife slipped from her fingers and hit the marble counter with a loud, sharp sound before rolling to a stop. Her proud expression broke. Anger faded, and fear took its place. Michael rushed to Lisa, wrapped his arm around her shaking body, and held her close to his chest. She clung to him, breathing fast, hiding her face in his shirt. He looked up at the woman who raised him, the woman he thought he understood. Now she looked like a stranger. For a moment, the house was completely silent. Then, in the distance, a sound began to rise. Sirens. They grew louder and louder until blue and red lights flashed across the windows. Cars turned into the driveway, tires grinding on gravel. Doors slammed. The peaceful estate no longer felt peaceful, it felt like truth finally arriving. Two officers walked inside the foyer, firm and focused. Their presence filled the whole house immediately. Michael guided Lisa to a chair near the wall. She held on tightly to his sleeve, still shaking. He rubbed her hair gently, whispering soft promises he had never spoken before. Eleanor stood by the counter. Her pearls were crooked. Her face had lost all color. She tried to stand straight like the powerful woman she always pretended to be. But this time, her voice didn't come out. Not a single word. An officer lifted the knife, now sealed inside a plastic evidence bag. Michael handed them his tablet. They watched the video silently. Every shove. Every slap. Every cruel moment. Every insult that had broken Lisa bit by bit. When the video ended, the officers didn't ask questions. They didn't hesitate. They walked straight to Eleanor and gently placed the handcuffs on her wrists. Even though they were calm, the sound of the metal fastening shut echoed loudly through the whole mansion. Outside the gate, neighbors had already gathered. Whispers spread quickly. "So it's true," one woman said softly. "All those bruises weren't accidents." Another shook her head. "Money can't hide everything. Not this." Michael ignored them all. His only focus was Lisa, the woman who trusted him, the woman he almost failed to protect. He knelt in front of her and held her trembling hands. "You're safe now," he whispered. "I promise." His voice cracked, not because he was weak, but because he meant every word. Eleanor was let out in handcuffs. For the first time, she couldn't pretend. Her power, her status, her pride, gone. The camera she always ignored caught everything now. Her fall was complete. Weeks passed. The news slowly died down. Eleanor's name appeared only in court dates and medical documents. Michael never visited her, not once. Some relationships are too damaged to fix. Inside the Whitman estate, the air changed. No more fear. No more hidden tension. The nursery was repainted in warm colors. The crib stood ready, sunlight shining across the wooden bars. And in that quiet space, Michael and Lisa finally breathed freely again. Together. Calm. Healing. For Michael, being rich no longer meant money or business success. It meant seeing Lisa smile again, even if it was small. It meant feeling the tiny kicks of their baby under her hand. It meant choosing love over pride, peace over reputation. Sometimes the hardest fight a man can face is against his own blood, just to protect the family he is building. And that's one powerful lesson from their story. Some battles happen right inside the home, and choosing love is the real victory. If Michael's choice touched your heart, please hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more stories like this. And if this moved you, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts.